Alright, so I went ahead and made a new project called for loops, and let's create a new file, new Python file for it. Let's call it hello world. And loops are the third fundamental building block of computer programs. The first building block are variables, which allow you to save data like a name or a number. The next building block is a branch, which allows your program to make a decision. And this is the third building block, is a loop. Okay, and so up here, loops allow your program to repeat blocks of code. So maybe I could put here executing blocks of code. Okay, and we have two kinds of loops. There are two kinds: for loops and while loops. And the first one that we're going to talk about are for loops. All right. Now, let's take this example here. Right. I'm going to print out I will do my homework every day. So when I was in elementary school and I didn't do my homework, my teacher would assign me standards. And they would tell me that I need to write this sentence on a piece of paper 50 times. If I did it again, they would say, Daniel, you need to write standards. Now write this sentence 100 times, right, using a pen and a pencil and paper. So how would I write the standards using this computer program? Well, I could go ahead and copy and paste it a whole bunch of times and then run it, and then down here at the bottom, okay, let me right click here and say run, and then it's going to print it out, right? But then that's quite a bit of command V or control Ving, right, copying and pasting this print line. So instead, what I could do is I could use a loop to repeat executing a block of code. In our case, our block of code is just going to be one line of code. All right? But theoretically, it could be as many lines of code as you'd like. Now, how do I do that? Well, I'm going to put this print command inside of a for loop, inside the body of a for loop. And the way you write a for loop is you go like this: for I in range 10. Colon, the body of the for loop needs to be indented. And now if I press play, you could see it prints out I will do my homework every day 10 times. Okay, great. What is happening in this for loop? All right, well, what is happening in the for loop is, first it creates a variable called I, and then it sets I equal to 0, then checks if I is less than 10, right? So if true, right, the body is executed, and then after that happens, it goes back up to the top, goes back to the top, and increments I. What does it mean to increment I, right? That means to increase I by 1. So I was equal to 0, but if I increment I, then I becomes equal to 1. Okay, and the way that the I is incremented is it does I is equal to I plus 1. So what does this do? It does the right side first, and it does 0 plus 1, that's 1, and now I is equal to 1. Then when it comes back up to the top, goes to increment I again, and it does I is equal to I plus 1, so I is now 1, and it does 1 plus 1, so I is equal to 2. It comes back up and it increments, and it does 2 plus 1, and now I is equal to 3, right? So this is the equation on how you can increment I. Okay, and then it comes back and it checks the condition I is less than 10. Right? And if it's true, then it goes and executes the body. So how does this work? It comes on in. Oh, let's get rid of this. Okay, it comes on in here, it creates the variable called I, sets it equal to 0, checks is I less than 10. That's true, it is less than 10. So it comes here and it does the body. When it's done executing the body, it comes back up and increments I by 1, right? So now I is not equal to 0 anymore, it's equal to 1. And then it checks, is 1 less than 10? Yes, it is. So it does this. I is incremented to 2. Is 2 less than 10? Yes. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Is 9 less than 10? Yes, it is. So it prints out, I will do my homework every day. Comes back up and increments I to 10. And then it checks, is 10 less than 10? No, that's not true, right? So since it's not true anymore, it comes back here to line 6, and it continues execution of the program, but there's nothing there, and it ends the program. Okay, so that's how a for loop works, and we can use it to solve many different problems. And in the next couple of videos, we'll talk about some of those problems that we can solve.